The AL West battle heads to Oakland tonight, but make no mistake, this isn't just another game on the schedule. The Mariners are charging toward October, and every pitch, every at-bat feels like it could swing their postseason fate. On the other side, the Athletics might not be contending, but they've embraced the role of spoiler and have nothing to lose. That makes them dangerous. Can Seattle's pitching staff continue to dominate, or will Oakland find a way to shock the division rival under the lights? Let's break it all down, beyond the box score style. Tonight at PNC Park, the Pittsburgh Pirates host the Colorado Rockies in a matchup that looks lopsided before the first pitch is even thrown. The Pirates, sitting at 54 wins on the season, aren't exactly a playoff threat, but they've been miles better than a Colorado team buried at the bottom of the National League standings with a brutal 37-90 record. This is one of those games where the numbers tell the story. Pittsburgh has a near 72% chance to win, and that projection is largely tied to the men on the mound. For the Rockies, it's Antonio Senzatella, a pitcher with a 4-14 record, a 7.00 ERA, and a 1.86 WHIP across 108 innings. Those stats scream disaster, especially against a team that doesn't even need to light up the scoreboard to beat him. On the other side is Braxton Ashcraft for the Pirates, a young arm who's shown poise with a 3-2 record, a 3.02 ERA, and a 1.25 WHIP through just under 42 innings. He doesn't overpower hitters, but he commands the strike zone and keeps traffic on the bases under control, which is exactly what you need against a Rockies lineup that struggles to generate consistent offense away from Coors Field. The betting market is shaping up exactly how you'd expect. The Pirates are heavy favorites, and for good reason. A straight moneyline play is safe, but there's real value in taking Pittsburgh on the run line at -1.5, given how often Senzatella collapses early. Colorado has the worst team ERA in baseball at nearly 6.00, and their bullpen doesn't offer any relief after Senzatella exits. That opens the door for Pittsburgh to win comfortably by multiple runs. When looking at the total, odds makers may inflate it slightly because of Colorado's pitching woes, but Ashcraft's ability to suppress runs and Colorado's lack of punch on the road points to the under as the stronger lean. It sets up as a game where Pittsburgh controls things from start to finish without a slugfest. Player props add another layer of intrigue. Ashcraft is lined around 4.5 strikeouts, and against a Rockies lineup that ranks near the bottom of the league in offensive metrics, that over looks very playable. Expect him to work at least 6 innings with a handful of strikeouts, something he's capable of doing against this level of competition. On the offensive side, Hunter Goodman is one of the few Rockies hitters worth mentioning, with 25 home runs and 72 RBI. He's their only real power threat, and he's the lone bat who could punish a mistake. For Pittsburgh, Brian Reynolds remains their most reliable run producer, but his season numbers are modest. Instead of banking on a specific hitter prop for Pittsburgh, the safer angle is trusting the lineup as a whole to score on Senzatella, which makes team totals or run line wagers smarter than singling out one player. The best betting construction here comes in the form of a same-game parlay. Combining a Pirates moneyline or run line with Ashcraft's strikeout over and the under on the full game total creates a high-value ticket that plays directly into how the game should unfold. If you're looking to push the odds higher, adding the Rockies team total under gives you a more aggressive edge since Colorado has been consistently shut down on the road all season. Pittsburgh doesn't need to put up double-digit runs. 3 or 4 solid innings against Senzatella should be more than enough to separate. When you zoom out and compare the teams, it becomes even clearer why Pittsburgh has the edge. The Rockies are batting just .240 as a team with limited power and strike zone discipline, while the Pirates, though far from elite offensively, at least sit around league average in run production. Factor in PNC Park's pitcher-friendly dimensions, and it's a tough assignment for a Colorado lineup that already struggles to score away from Denver. Add in Senzatella's inability to keep the ball in the park and Pittsburgh's controlled pitching staff, and you're left with one of the more straightforward handicaps on the board. The final prediction is Pittsburgh taking this game 5-2. Ashcraft should deliver a quality start with 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, and only 1 earned run surrender. The Rockies may scratch across a couple of late runs, but it won't be enough to change the outcome. Senzatella's struggles will once again be the headline, and Pittsburgh will do just enough to cash tickets on both the run line and the under. This is one of those spots where trusting the numbers, the pitching matchup, and the trends all points in the same direction. Pirates at home, controlling every angle of the game, walking away with a decisive victory. The Phillies and Nationals meet at Citizens Bank Park in a matchup that looks straightforward on paper but has plenty of betting angles to unpack. Philadelphia comes in at 74-53 and chasing October baseball, while Washington sits at 51-75, already playing out the string with nothing but development left on their calendar. The Phillies are favored heavily for a reason, with ESPN's model giving them over a 63% chance to take care of business at home. The Nationals are dangerous when overlooked, but the gap in pitching depth and bullpen reliability makes this an uphill battle for Washington from the very start. On the mound for the Phillies is Aaron Nola, though it's not the Aaron Nola fans remember from Cy Young conversations and big postseason starts. In 2025, his numbers have plummeted to a 1-7 record with a 6.92 ERA and a whip over 1.60 across just 52 innings. That's the profile of a struggling arm still finding his footing after injury. Across the diamond, the Nationals counter with Mitchell Parker, a young lefty who has endured his share of growing pains. His line of 7-13 with a 5.83 ERA and 1.50 whip over nearly 130 innings doesn't offer much stability. Both teams will need their offenses to provide cover, but the Phillies hold the clear edge in depth and bullpen insurance. Philadelphia's pitching staff has absorbed injuries but still has multiple dependable arms behind Nola. Christopher Sanchez owns a 2.41 ERA. Ranger Suarez has been consistent with a 3.25 mark, and Taijuan Walker offers a 3.34 ERA presence to steady things if Nola falters. That's a luxury Washington simply doesn't have. Their bullpen has been one of the worst in baseball, dragging a collective ERA north of 5.80, while Philadelphia has transformed its relief corps into a weapon with Joan Duran and David Robertson anchoring the late innings. In fact, Phillies relievers have pitched to a 2.04 ERA since the trade deadline, one of the sharpest improvements in the league. The betting board reflects this difference. Philadelphia opened around -198 on the money line, and the run line at -1.5 sits at about -126. The total has been set at 10 runs, a number that makes sense given the vulnerabilities of both starters. However, simulation models lean under, closer to 9.5, since Parker tends to eat innings even when allowing runs and Nola still possesses strikeout potential to minimize damage. The Phillies' bullpen also makes the under appealing once the starters exit. In terms of props, Aaron Nola's strikeout line at 4.5 is intriguing. Even in a down year, he has the stuff to punch out 5 hitters against a Nationals lineup that doesn't excel in plate discipline. On the hitting side, Kyle Schwarber remains the most reliable power bat in this game. With 45 home runs and 109 RBI on the season, he has carried Philadelphia in bursts, and he thrives in matchups against lefties like Parker. His home run prop deserves attention, particularly if you're looking for a high-value parlay piece. For Washington, James Wood is the hitter to circle. At just 22 years old, he's already produced 25 home runs and 80 RBI, making him the most dangerous hitter in the Nationals lineup and a viable long shot for an anytime home run. Constructing a same-game parlay is straightforward in this matchup. The safest build combines Phillies' moneyline with Nola's strikeout over and the full game under. That combination plays into Philadelphia's bullpen advantage, the home park's dimensions, and the likelihood that Washington's offense is held in check. For bettors looking for a bigger payout, Swapping the money line for the run line and adding a Schwarber home run prop gives you a high upside angle where Philadelphia not only wins but does so behind their most dangerous slugger. The bigger picture also tilts heavily in Philadelphia's favor. With Zach Wheeler sidelined due to a serious medical issue, the Phillies need every win to protect their NL East lead. That urgency makes this matchup against a sub-.500 Nationals team even more important. Washington, on the other hand, continues to cycle through young arms and inexperienced relievers, hoping someone sticks, but it leaves them exposed late in games against teams with postseason aspirations. The final score projection is Phillies 6, Nationals 3. Nola won't look like a vintage ace, but he'll manage 5 innings with 6 strikeouts and 3 earned runs. From there, the bullpen takes over and closes the door. Schwarber provides the offensive spark with a long ball, while Wood adds one of his own for Washington but doesn't get enough help. The betting path is clear. Phillies win, the under cashes, Nola clears his strikeout number, and Schwarber drives the ball out of the yard. For Philadelphia, it's another step toward October, while Washington is once again reminded of how far they are from competing with the division's elite. The atmosphere in Yankee Stadium is electric as we head into Game 3 of this pivotal 4-game AL East showdown. New York holding a narrow wild card lead over Boston, both chasing the division title behind a hot Blue Jays team. This series carries playoff implications, and the third matchup promises to set the tone for the weekend. The Yankees have surged recently, riding a 5-game win streak and hitting home runs at a record pace, even as the Red Sox counter with a high-powered offense and deep bullpen arms led by Aroldis Chapman. It's the quintessential tension. A hot offense and home crowd for New York against Boston's total team balance and recent dominance in this rivalry. On the bump for this third tilt, the Yankees turn to Garrett Crochet, an ace-level lefty sitting at 13-5 with a stingy 2.43 ERA, 196 strikeouts, and a nifty 1.07 whip over 159.1 innings. He's one of the Als' most dominant arms when healthy. Across the diamond is New York's tall righty, Will Warren, sporting a 7-5 record with a respectable 4.25 ERA, decent 143 kiloseconds across 127 innings, and a 1.37 whip. The edge clearly tilts to Crochet, whose consistency and elite strikeout ability give the Yankees a major leverage point. This sets up the betting canvas. Yankees moneyline is the foundation, but Crochet over 5.5 strikeouts is a pure value prop. He's striking out over 11.1 per 9 and facing a Mike League offense that struggles to keep up, especially on the road. The Red Sox, though potent, rely heavily on plate discipline and timely hitting, while Crochet forces swing decisions early and often. Team betting lines reflect that tilt. Expect Yankees minus 135 megaliters or minus 1.5 run line in the neighborhood of minus 125, with an over-under around 8. The game feels poised for a low-scoring, high-control Yankees win, leaning under, especially with Boston's bullpen susceptible in high-leverage spots, and Crochet giving the Yankees breathing room early. When you pivot to props, Aaron Judge looms large. He's mashing to a .330 average with 40 home runs and 92 RBI, and he's feasted on Boston pitching this season. 3 homers already off the Sox are a telling sign. His anytime home run prop makes sense for the SGP build. On the Boston side, Trevor Story or Jarren Duran offer upside, but Judge is the singular X factor. Your best same-game parlay SGP lanes. Yankees ML plus Crochet over 5.5 kiloseconds plus under 8 runs plus Judge anytime hour. That ticket aligns with the game's narrative. Dominant starting pitching, controlled scoring, and the most dangerous longball threat on either side. A slightly safer leg would be Yankees minus 1.5 RL in place of ML, still giving strong upside. Digging into context, this series isn't just about wild card positions, it's rivalry fueled. The Sox have taken 5 straight matchups this season and swept the Yankees recently at Fenway. But New York's roaring offense and home field have them primed to shift the momentum carrot. Boston's bullpen, while anchored by Chapman, has lacked the consistency it once had, especially in games where they fall behind early. Final projection: Yankees win 4-1. Crochet goes 6 dominant innings, 8 strikeouts, 1 earned run. Judge connects deep early. Boston scratches a run in the middle innings, but the Yankees breeze to victory. The betting ticket cashes. Yankees ML are minus 1.5 RL, under 8, Crochet K's over, Judge hour. Baltimore heads into Game 4 at Oriole Park riding a wave of momentum, energized by the emergence of rookies Dylan Beavers and Samuel Basallo, both of whom have enlivened the lineup, with Beavers hitting .286 and Basallo adding 5 RBIs in just 3 games, helping Baltimore average 6.5 runs per game during their recent stretch. That surge could not come at a better time for a team facing a Houston squad mired in offensive misery, having averaged just over 2 runs per game in their last 3 series, and more alarmingly, enduring a jaw-dropping 31-inning scoreless drought. On the mound for the Orioles is rookie right-hander Brandon Young, 1-6, 5.68 ERA, whose season statistics would suggest caution. But his last performance was anything but ordinary: 8 shutout innings with 1 hit, no walks, and 6 strikeouts against this very Astros lineup, nearly carrying a perfect game into the 8th. That kind of outing flips the script, adding high upside to a pitcher with shaky overall numbers but a proven ability to flare up. Opposing Young is Houston's Jason Alexander, a 3-1 right-hander with a 4.74 ERA, 35 strikeouts in 43 2/3 innings, and a recent solid outing of 6 innings, 2 earned runs, and 3 hits against Baltimore. Alexander has pieced together some quality starts and enters this matchup with opportunity, but he's still a middle-tier arm, and it's his consistency that's the leading question mark. The betting market aligns closely with how this looks on paper. Orioles sitting near plus 110 to minus 115 on the money line, with an over/under around 8.5. The odds makers reflect an uphill but not impossible climb for Baltimore, banking on Young's flash potential versus Alexander's middling reliability, while also factoring in Houston's offensive slump. If you're locking down your bets, the Oriole money line is a resilient base, and there's real value hedging with Young over 4.5 strikeouts. He punched out 6 last time out and profiles well against a cold Astros offense. From the Houston side, despite their slump, Astros over 2.5 runs in the first 5 innings stands out as a compelling prop if you're expecting Alexander to come out firing before the Orioles' rotation and bullpen roll in. Your best SGP structure starts with Orioles ML, Young over 4.5 kiloseconds, and the under 8.5 total. These legs align with the narrative of Young's upside, a stalled Houston lineup, and a controlled game tempo. To turbocharge upside, consider swapping ML for Orioles minus 1.5 RL or adding Astros team total over 2.5 first 5 innings as a contrarian hook in a high-risk, high-reward ticket. Drilling deeper, Baltimore's bullpen has tightened up behind Young, even if closer Felix Bautista is sidelined long-term due to shoulder surgery. Houston, on the other hand, grapples with serious late-inning vulnerabilities following Josh Hader's shoulder injury, exposing gaps in one of baseball's most prized bullpen residues. That experience gap, the Orioles managing around high-leverage scenarios better than a shaky Astros pen, could determine late-inning stability in a tight game. Final projection: Orioles win 4-2. Brandon Young channels his previous electric outing with 5 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts, and 1 earned run. Houston touches him for a pair early, but Baltimore's starter and bullpen lock it in. The Orioles garnish late insurance runs via Beavers or Basallo, while Alexander fades in the middle innings. Game cashes: Orioles ML, under, Young over 4.5 kiloseconds, and if you chased it, Astros first 5 innings team total over pays a cheeky premium for the hopeful fade. The final act of this mid-August showdown between Detroit and Kansas City arrives with the Tigers set to send Jack Flaherty, a veteran righty who signed a 2-year, $35 million extension this offseason and enters Game 5 with a 7-12 record and a 4.51 ERA, carrying 162 strikeouts through the season as a seasoned workhorse for the rotation. Flaherty's value lies not in dominating edge metrics, but in mastering length and experience under pressure. Opposing him is Kansas City's Seth Lugo, a reliable arm sporting an 8-6 record and a 3.73 ERA with 115 strikeouts in 137.2 innings. His consistency has been a quietly stabilizing force atop the Royals staff. Detroit enters as the more threatening team, bolstered by home field advantage and the narrative of being 56-31 in games when starting as the moneyline favorite, translating to a 64.4% win rate in that spot. The Royals, meanwhile, are navigating tough road conditions, resting just above .500 at 65-62, while the Tigers are firmly entrenched in playoff mode at 76-53. ESPN's matchup predictor leans Tigers at about 55% to win at home, a tight but decisive edge driven by Flaherty's edge in demeanor and Detroit's offensive ceiling. This setup gives us the framework. Think Tigers' moneyline as the foundation, but deeper value comes from embracing Detroit's offensive capabilities and picking Julio or anchoring around strikeout lines. Flaherty has reliable strikeout potential against a Royals lineup that ranks middle of the road in plate discipline. Flaherty over 5.5 kiloseconds is a high probability prop if he's in rhythm. On the other side, Lugo's uptick in efficiency since midseason makes Royals team total under 2.5 in back half intrigue, especially if the bullpen enters clean and the Tigers start slow. The Tigers boast several key bats who power the edge. Riley Green, sitting at .263 with 29 home runs and 92 RBI, embodies the long-ball threat the Royals can't sleep on. Meanwhile, Bobby Witt Jr. remains Kansas City's most consistent offensive spark. His .294 average and emerging power make any long ball prop worth a look, especially as a contrarian play to tag Lugo early. Ideal SGP construction here starts with Tigers ML. Flaherty over 5.5 kiloseconds, and under the total. That aligns cleanly with the narrative. Detroit controls game tempo, Flaherty brings swing and miss, and neither offense explodes. Upside value version. Tigers minus 1.5 RL, Green anytime HR, under, combining run dominance and power punch. Deeper contrarian hook. Witt anytime hour plus Royals team total over 2.5 in final innings is a long shot in a high-risk ticket. Contextually, there's sharp contrast in motivation. The Tigers are pushing for divisional security and postseason momentum, while the Royals feel the schedule tightening and need to strike before September arms the race. That urgency adds weight to Detroit's edge. Finishing fiery. Tigers win 5-3. Flaherty goes 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, 3 hits, 1 earned run. Green belts a 2-run homer. Witt responds with a solo deep ball. Lugo keeps it close but the Detroit bullpen seals it. Ticket hits. Tigers ML, under, Flaherty Ks, Green hour. The Marlins and Blue Jays square off in Miami for Game 6 on Friday night, and this matchup has explosive awakening or rude reality check written all over it. Miami's Cal Quantrill toes the rubber for the Marlins, coming in with a 4-10 record and a 5.50 ERA across 109.2 innings. His 1.39 whip is a tad better than his ERA suggests, but the bottom line is that he's prone to long innings and long flies in the HR-prone Eastern Time slot. Opposite him is newly acquired Shane Bieber, the 2020 Cy Young winner, debuting for Toronto following Tommy John surgery. Bieber hasn't pitched in the majors since April 2024, but in 7 minor league rehab starts, he's posted a 1.86 ERA, a 0.86 whip, and 37 strikeouts in just 29 innings. His return immediately elevates Toronto's rotation alongside Berríos, Gausman, Scherzer, and Bassett. This setup gives us a compelling storyline. A struggling, Erratic Marlins rotation against a potentially dominant Cy Young caliber arm trying to re-establish form. On the betting board, Miami might still carry a slight moneyline edge given home comfort, but Toronto's rotation upgrade signals a sharp pull toward the visitors. The spread could be tight. ML should fall near even money or slight Jays -115, with the run line tight. The total is sitting at around 8 runs, which remains intriguing given Bieber's strikeout upside and Quantrill's propensity for run leaks. Value is lurking in multiple layers. Bieber returning after an injury makes his over 5.5 strikeouts, or even over 6.5 kiloseconds, a high-leverage play if he channels pre-surgery rhythms. Quantrill has allowed 17 home runs and 122 hits across 109.2 innings, so the Marlins bats have to work hard just to scratch. Players like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., with his .298 average and elite on-base skills, and George Springer, with 21 homers and 62 RBI, are prime longball threats if Bieber is rusty early. Springer anytime home run or Guerrero Jr. base hit plus extra base could deliver big payoff. Marlins counter with Kyle Stowers, their power tail, who's paced the team with 25 homers and a .288 average. He's the only Miami hitter with consistent pop this series. Stowers anytime HR or Marlins team total over 3.5 are contrarian props worth considering if Bieber has first inning rust. Your ideal same game parlay leans: Blue Jays ML, Bieber over 5.5 kiloseconds, and under 8 total runs. That ticket leans into the bullpen reliability Jays now have, Bieber's uncanny K upside, and the likelihood Miami's offense remains stymied unless quantities start early. A high upside variant flips ML to Blue Jays -1.5 run line, keeps Bieber over, and adds Springer anytime HR for pop and padding. Zooming out, the narrative is clear. Toronto is looking to lock up AL East control and just added a hammer arm to the rotation. Miami is flailing offensively despite the plucky efforts of a few, and their pitching has failed to string together quality starts. City trust in Bieber's return and Matador discomfort from Quantrill form the sharp edge here. Final call. Blue Jays win 5-2. Bieber fires 6 innings, strikes out 7, and allows 2 earned runs. Quantrill lasts as long as he can, but falters in the 4th. Toronto bullpen shuts the door. Springer delivers a late solo shot. Stowers responds in kind but not enough. The stage is set at Truist Park as the Atlanta Braves host the New York Mets in a tension-fueled Game 7 of their series, where both teams are jockeying for position in the ultra-competitive NL East. Atlanta, sitting just behind the division lead, has stumbled through bursts of inconsistency, while the Mets are clinging to a wild card spot and grappling with pitching depth issues despite a star-studded offense. This game is less about standings and more about statement. Will Atlanta reassert control at home, or will New York strike a crucial blow in enemy territory? On the mound for the Mets is Nolan McLain, a promising rookie making just his second major league appearance. He enters with a spotless 0.00 ERA, having impressed with 8 strikeouts in 5.1 innings during his debut. Across the mound stands Joey Wentz, a left-hander with a modest 4-3 record and a 4.72 ERA behind him, having logged just 68 innings, making him a back-of-the-rotation figure still developing consistency. The edge swings toward McLain's fresh arm and untapped upside, especially under the night sky in Atlanta, known for its humid air-aiding flyball carry. Betting markets reflect a nuanced tug-of-war. ESPN's matchup predictor gives the Braves a 55% edge at home, riding the advantage of Wentz facing a Mets squad with disrupted rotation flow. Expect the Braves' moneyline to sit slightly favored, perhaps -115 to -120, while Mets ML lands around +110 to +115 for value hunters. The over-under game total is hovering around 8 runs, balancing McLain's impact with Wentz's vulnerability. Props land with intriguing value on both sides. McLain's ceiling makes over 5.5 strikeouts highly appealing, At just 0.2 whiff shy of that threshold in his debut, there's upside for a breakout outing if he maintains command. Meanwhile, Wentz's drafty control surfaces in Braves' team total over 3.5 runs, particularly if New York's bullpen leans on shaky arms behind McLain. For Mets sluggers, keep an eye on Pete Alonso, who recently crushed a franchise-record 2-homer game. His anytime home run remains a high-leverage prop when facing pitcher uncertainty. The prime SGP build flows like this: Braves ML plus McLain over 5.5 kiloseconds plus under the total. That aligns with leveraging Atlanta's home advantage, banking on McLain's upside, and anticipating a controlled, lower-scoring contest. For higher stakes tickets, you can swap ML for Braves minus 1.5 RL, add Alonso HR, and lean under for a big reward structure. Contrarian bettors might swim upstream with Mets ML plus Alonso hour plus over the total, riding a late swing and the unpredictability of McLain. The broader context intensifies the drama. The Mets have been forced into strategic shuffles after Frankie Montas was demoted following an ERA north of 6.00, thrusting prospects like McLain into the rotation amid a bullpen stretched thin, making this a test of organizational depth and timing. Atlanta, despite its own injury issues and mix of starter performances, is trying to seize division momentum and has the clarity of role definition in place. Final prediction: Braves win 4-2. McLain shocks with 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, and 2 earned runs. Wentz keeps it close early, but the Braves' offense scratches across a couple in the middle, led by a timely Alonso homer. Atlanta's bullpen shuts it down late. Ticket cashes: Braves ML or minus 1.5 RL, McLain over 5.5 kiloseconds, under 8 total, and optionally Alonso hour. Tonight at Tropicana Field, the Tampa Bay Rays host the St. Louis Cardinals in a matchup that's dripping with subtle intrigue, two teams hovering just outside playoff range, both scrapping for a spark as August winds down. The Cards roll into town at 63-65, riding a foundation of veteran starting pitching led by Sonny Gray, who owns an 11-6 record and a 4.30 ERA across 140 innings, pairing stability with a 9.9 K9 rate despite a shaky second-half stretch. Opposite him is Tampa's young righty Joe Boyle, making his 6th start of the year, carrying a 1-2 record with a 4.68 ERA and an electric, strikeout-first profile at 9.4 K9, but also a concerning 5.0 BB9 in limited innings. It's the veteran versus the volatile, the proven arm versus the hungry swing and miss offering. The betting markets are calibrated accordingly. Cardinals are the slight favorites, around minus 120 on the money line, with the Rays sitting at plus 100, implying this feels more like a coin flip than a blowout. The run total floats between 8 and 8.5, leaning on the notion that Gray may shut things down early, while Boyle's control issues could tilt scoring spikes. This lines up a compelling lean toward Cardinals ML or even touching the minus 1.5 run line if you trust Tampa's offense stays dormant early. Props are where the story gets sharp. Gray, known for durability and swing and miss when locked in, offers upside on over 5.5 strikeouts, especially if the Rays' bruising lineup remains inconsistent away from Tropicana's offensive mojo. On the Rays' side, Junior Caminero anytime home run is a high-value piece. He's popped 6 long balls in his last 14 games at home and remains a real power threat when he gets one in the zone. Brandon Lowe, too, has racked up extra bases at a steady clip versus Street. Lewis's left-handed tendencies, making Lowe over 2.5 total bases a cheeky angle to exploit. Locking into your same-game parlay, the cleanest play becomes Cardinals ML plus Gray over 5.5 kiloseconds plus under the total, a classic control formula rooted in veteran poise, swing and miss upside, and a controlled scoring atmosphere. Craving roller coaster juice? Flip it to Cardinals minus 1.5 RL plus Caminero hour plus under. Not for the faint of heart but loaded with upside if Gray can strike out 8 and Caminero Suns 1. Zooming out, the Cardinals lean on defense as a hidden advantage, unlike Tampa Street. Lewis ranks near the top in outs above average, masking Gray's mistakes when they occur. Tampa, meanwhile, has splashes of power but lacks consistency across the lineup, making Boyle's control volatility even more dangerous on their side of the ledger. If Florida's sticky surface isn't rewarding, the Cardinals' defense could absorb pressure and flip tight innings into offense limiting frames. Final call. Cardinals win 4-2. Gray delivers 6 solid innings, 7 strikeouts, and 1 earned run. Caminero breaks through with a solo shot to inject drama, but otherwise Cardinals deliver lamppost control. That nails the tickets. ML or RL, Gray K's over, under, and a bonus claim for anyone who grabbed Caminero long ball. The Chi Sox welcome the Minnesota Twins to guaranteed rate field tonight, a matchup that quietly carries more betting intrigue than meets the eye. Chicago sits at 45-82, still deep in the rebuild and seeking flashes of momentum behind young talent like Lenyn Sosa. Minnesota, at 58-68, is a patchwork crew trying to stay relevant as the division races toward the playoffs. But the game falls squarely on the mound. The White Sox hand the ball to Aaron Civale, a veteran righty sporting a 3-8 record and a 4.88 ERA with 65 strikeouts on the season. Solid, if unspectacular, and someone who eats innings. Opposing him is the Twins' Zebby Matthews, a relatively unknown arm entering with a 3-4 record and a 5.06 ERA, yet striking out 63 batters in a similar frame and bringing high leverage upside in his starts. The betting markets are cautiously hinting at value. Neither team dominates, but the White Sox ML at home carries a modest edge, perhaps seeing Civale's experience and Twins offseason reshuffles weighing in. Twins ML money could hover near plus 110 as a value play. The run total is nestled around 8 runs, and calling it under aligns with Civale's ability to limit the long ball in a White Sox park that has grown stingy on offense. Props tighten the narrative further. Civale over 5.5 strikeouts is juicy. He's crossed that line several times this month and can challenge an inconsistent Minnesota lineup. On the Twins tip, Byron Buxton anytime home run is a sharp wedge. When healthy, Buxton remains a scary mismatch with 20-plus homers and elite power speed risk factors. For the Sox, Lenyn Sosa over 1.5 total bases or anytime extra base hit brings sneaky value. He's Chicago's best offensive weapon, serving up clutch doubles and occasional homers. Layering your same-game parlay, the clean angle is White Sox ML plus Civale over 5.5 kiloseconds plus under the total. That plays to tempo. Civale keeps you in it. Twins struggle to get consistent wood on the ball, and scoring stays limited. Want more kick? Push ML to White Sox minus 1.5 RL. Add Sosa 1.5 plus total bases, and keep under 8 for a higher upside ticket. Contrarian seekers might swing with Twins ML, Buxton HR, and over, but that leans on Matthews staying consistently hittable. Digging out context, Minnesota's roster is limping through August, their fire sale depleted offense and bullpen reliability, and young arms like Matthews are pressured to deliver above their upside ceiling. Chicago, by contrast, may be losing on record but cultivates youth and can capitalize on shaky matchups. Civale, while not electric, brings command, volume, and the stress of facing a depleted lineup in a ground ball venue. Final call. White Sox win 4-3. Civale spans 6 innings, tallies 6 strikeouts, and allows 3 runs. Buxton delivers a solo shot for Minnesota in response, but Sosa powers a 2-run double off Matthews in the 5th that proves decisive. White Sox bullpen manages the late frames, and the Sox sneak a gritty home win. That delivers the betting card. White Sox ML, under 8, Civale over 5.5 kiloseconds, with Sosa's extra base pop as a spicy optional leg. Tonight at Globe Life Field, the Texas Rangers host the Cleveland Guardians in a pivotal Game 10 showdown that feels loaded with under-the-surface drama. Texas comes into this one at 63-65, having dropped 8 of their last 10 as playoff pressure slowly creeps in. Cleveland slides in at 64-62, sneaking toward the postseason fringes with a blend of stubborn pitching and timely offense. But if you're hunting the beating heart of this game, it pulses through the arms towing the rubber. The Rangers are handing the ball to Nathan Eovaldi, the veteran ace who's leaned into midseason form beautifully. After a rough triceps scare earlier in the summer, he's returned to post a scorching July with a 5-0 record, 0.59 ERA, and 30 kiloseconds in 30.2 innings. He's striking out 10 per 9 while showing veteran control and composure that this club desperately needs. Across the way, the Guardians counter with Slade Cecconi, a mid-rotation righty with a modest 5-6 record, 4.50 ERA, and 76 strikeouts in 90 innings. He's dependable enough but offers little to fan the thermostat in a game with this much tension brewing. The betting board echoes the story. Rangers cling to a slight edge, perhaps holding at -120 megaliters at home, while Cleveland's line drifts near +105, giving value hunters a sniff if they trust youthful energy over veteran polish. The total is sculpted around 8 runs, airtight given Eovaldi's late inning control and Cleveland's meandering offense, which averages just .227 as a team, while Texas hangs near .233 but leans deeper as the veteran cobbles innings. Now the prop storyline is rich. Eovaldi over 5.5 strikeouts reads like free shrimp at a seafood bar. He's been punching 10 per 9 since his return, and the Guardians rank middling in contact quality. On the Cleveland side, Jose Ramirez anytime home run remains a sharp counter. He hits above .290, slugs above .500, and remains one of the few bats Guardians can consistently lean on. For the Rangers, Corey Seager over 1.5 total bases offers value against Cleveland's inconsistency, especially if Eovaldi showers free passes or Lincoln-style pitch mistakes. If you're building a same-game parlay, the directive is clear. Rangers ML plus Eovaldi over 5.5 kiloseconds plus under 8 total runs crafts a narrative pinball. Veteran ace suppresses, team wins, scoring stays controlled. For juice seekers, go aggressive. Rangers -1.5 RL plus Ramirez hour plus under, coupling scoring ceilings with pop upside. Contrarian vibes would swing for Guardians ML plus Ramirez hour plus over, banking on Cleveland's offense flipping dynamo style, but that's party risk. Zooming out, the context adds fuel. Texas is staring down the road without consistency, yet Eovaldi is the rare stabilizing force capable of commanding innings and keeping the fireworks at bay. The Guardians, however, are constructing their postseason identity on development, roles shifting, youth stepping up, and Ramirez carrying fire in tough spots. If Eovaldi blinks, Cleveland could lean on their bunt, defensive value, and small ball approach to pull a shocker. But pressure favors experience tonight. My final take: Rangers win 4-2. Eovaldi stretches 6 innings with 7 strikeouts and 1 earned run, holding Cleveland in check long enough for Seager to ignite with early extra base knocks and Ramirez to respond with a solo shot. The Rangers' bullpen handles the late frames while Eovaldi's command holds. Outcome: ticket cashes. Rangers ML, under 8, Eovaldi K's over, optional Seager extra base hit. Tonight at American Family Field, the Milwaukee Brewers host the San Francisco Giants in a high-stakes showdown featuring 2 of baseball's most tantalizing pitching matchups. The Brewers, 79-47, are boasting one of the league's best records, powered by elite defense, depth, and steady arms, even after losing key pieces from last year's squad. Their season remains on pace for special, backed by a 3.58 team ERA, the best in baseball, and strong run production at .258 average with 653 total runs so far. They ride in as the class of the NL Central. The Giants, by contrast, carry a 61-66 record, locked in mediocrity with just a 2.8% chance to make the postseason and organizational instability haunting their trajectory. On the mound, this is elite stuff. San Francisco sends left-hander Robbie Ray to the hill, 10-6 with a 2.85 ERA, a 1.11 WHIP, and 158 strikeouts over 154 innings. Ray's ability to dominate via strikeouts and command makes him dangerous when locked in. The Brewers counter with the equally impressive Freddie Peralta, sporting a 15-5 record, a 2.78 ERA, 1.10 WHIP, and 154 punchouts in 142 innings. This is the kind of arms race that screams pitching duel, making offensive efficiency and bullpen execution the deciding blades. Betting markets have responded accordingly. ESPN gives Milwaukee a 60.3% win probability at home, pointing to a slight lean in their favor. Expect Milwaukee ML around -110 to -120, with the Giants falling just a tick above even money. The total hovers around 7.5 to 8 runs, perfectly positioned for sharp leans, given the low scoring potential on both sides. Props add heat. Peralta over 5.5 strikeouts is tough to ignore. He's racked up over 150 kiloseconds heading into this spot and consistently challenges hitters. On the Giants' side, Ray over 6.5 strikeouts is equally compelling. He's dangerous when his mechanics align. For offense, Christian Yelich anytime home run is the main headline for Milwaukee, 26 homers and 87 RBI by a veteran still locked in. For San Francisco, Willie Adames over 0.5 total bases offers sneaky upside. He's their power engine with 19 homers and 62 RBI, even as the team flounders. Your same-game parlay (SGP) framework should read like this: Brewers ML plus Peralta over 5.5 kiloseconds plus under 8 total runs. That structure leans all valid angles. Home advantage, an ace-level performance from Peralta, and likely a tight pitching slugfest. For more juice, consider Brewers -1.5 RL plus Yelich hour plus under, a heavy payout play if Milwaukee handles business with power and efficiency. For contrarians, an SFML plus Ray over 6.5 kiloseconds plus Adames XBH ticket offers revenge upside. Zooming out, the narrative clearly favors Milwaukee. They're not just winning, they're outperforming expectations with schemed efficiency, depth, and pitching depth. The Giants, by contrast, struggle to consistently produce offensively. .232 team average, despite being anchored by talent like Adames and Heliot Ramos. .265 average, elite OBP. Add in a shaky offensive environment and internal turmoil, and tonight's clash leans heavily toward veteran execution versus inconsistent surge. Final call. Brewers win 3-1. Peralta goes 6 innings with 7 strikeouts, stifling the Giants early. Yelich delivers a go-ahead 2-run shot in the 4th. Ray limits damage but runs out of gas in the later innings. The Brew Crew's bullpen seals the deal. That nails your ticket. Brewers ML or RL under 8. Peralta K's over, with optional Yelich long ball value. The stage is set at Angel Stadium for Game 12, where the rebuilding Los Angeles Angels host the Chicago Cubs in a matchup buzzing with unsung intrigue. The Angels, reeling from recent losses and roster upheaval, placed veteran starter Jose Soriano on the paternity list, paving the way for Chase Silseth to step in on short notice after clashing with the Reds lineup earlier this week. Silseth comes with a 0-1 record and a tough 6.75 ERA in 2 MLB starts this season, highlighted by shaky command and innings he'd like to forget, definitely a volatility trigger in the board. On the other side, Chicago turns to Matthew Boyd, a seasoned lefty sitting at an impressive 12-6 with a stellar 2.61 ERA, 1.04 WHIP, and 129 strikeouts across 148 innings. He's delivered consistency and late-game control all season long. The contrast couldn't be sharper. A makeshift starter trying to hold his place for a contender against Boyd's steady veteran presence. The betting market paints the picture clearly. Cubs enter as heavy favorites, likely hovering around -140 to -150 megaliters, with the Angels pushing toward +130 to +140 on home ice. Silseth's shaky track record and uncertainty amplify Boyd's value, while the total floats around 8 to 8.5 runs, capturing the clash between Chicago's disciplined run suppression and the Angels' explosive ceiling. When their bats wake, they can explode. Let's get to the props, because here's where the edges sharpen. Boyd over 5.5 strikeouts is pure value. He's been hitting that threshold consistently, and Silseth's fastballs offer little hope against a disciplined Cubs lineup. For Chicago's bats, Nico Hoerner over 1.5 total bases is enticing. He's slapping .289 with on-base plus contact upgrades against southpaws. On the Angels side, Taylor Ward anytime home run is a tempting dart. 29 homers and 92 RBI speaks for itself, and he's always a swing away from changing momentum. Your same-game parlay SGP reads clean. Cubs ML plus Boyd over 5.5 kiloseconds plus under the total. Locked, loaded, and aligned with command, favor, and tempo. Want more juice? Juice it up. Cubs -1.5 RL plus Ward hour plus under for a higher risk, higher reward package. Contrarian rush. Go bold. Angels ML plus Ward hour plus over, but you're betting on Silseth gelling fast and Taylor Ward flipping the script solo. Zoom out and the broader narrative only cements Boyd's advantage. Chicago's rotation is a tower of stability while LA scrambles for starters. The Angels' offense flashes at home but lacks consistency, especially when their pitchers don't give them a clean slate. A rookie like Silseth, moving from AAA, brings uncertainty larger than any rookie debut hype. Cubs just have to lean on Boyd's command and their bullpen's reliability. Final prediction. Cubs win 4-1. Boyd goes 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, 1 earned run. Hoerner drives in 2 runs with a double and a single. Ward connects on a deep solo shot for the Angels' only score. Chicago locks down the middle frames and coast to a controlled win. The intensity is palpable at Petco Park tonight as the San Diego Padres and Los Angeles Dodgers collide in what could be the division-deciding tilt of the season. The Dodgers, reeling through a 12-21 skid since July 4th and dealing with notable bullpen breakdowns and slumping bats, trail the Padres by a game in the NL West and desperately need a statement win. The Padres, by contrast, have surged with aggressive roster moves in a red-hot stretch, winning 9 of their last 12 and firing off 5 straight victories heading into this one. That momentum and organizational depth give them clear energy on home turf. The pitching matchup draws sharp lines. San Diego hands the ball to Yu Darvish, who enters with a murky 2-3 record and a ballooned 5.97 ERA over 7 starts. His strikeout-to-walk ratio remains respectable, and he's shown glimpses of vintage control, yet his numbers tell a story of mixed results and inconsistent efficiency. The Dodgers counter with Tyler Glasnow, recently activated from the injured list, carrying a 3.12 ERA, a 1.14 WHIP, and an aggressive approach that has him sitting near 10.9 kiloseconds per 9. Glasnow brings swing and miss lethality when healthy, a sharp contrast to Darvish's roller coaster. Oddsmakers reflect this scenario. Dodgers hold a slight edge, likely around -110 on the money line, while Padres are receiving value steam at about +105 to +110 at home. The over-under hovers near 8.5 runs, balancing Glasnow's big strike capacity with concerns over the Dodgers' bullpen fragility and Darvish's volatile command. Props are where edges hide in plain sight. Glasnow over 6.5 strikeouts is a pure mismatch bet. His K rate has remained elite, and Darvish simply can't be trusted for length. On the Padres side, Manny Machado anytime home run demands attention. He's batting near .292 with 21 bombs and remains arguably San Diego's most consistent offensive threat. Shohei Ohtani anytime extra base hit also leans intriguing, freckles and all, assuming he takes a couple cuts before maybe sliding into that rotation at some point. Your same game parlay mic drops clean. Dodgers ML plus Glasnow over 6.5 kiloseconds plus under 8.5 runs. That nails pace, pitching dominance, and park leverage. The value swing. Dodgers minus 1.5 RL plus Machado hour plus under, a gambler's ticket leaning into late game blowout scenarios. A high-risk contrarian play would be Padres ML plus Machado hour plus over, banking on Darvish locking in and Padres bats buzzing early. Zooming out, the narrative is potent. The Dodgers are desperate to stop the bleed. Rotation depth, bullpen meltdown, and injuries piling up. San Diego, meanwhile, is clicking on all cylinders and riding both roster depth and recent form. Petco Park suppression of the long ball adds texture to a pitching duel setup. If Darvish finds life, the home crowd could ignite. If he doesn't, Glasnow and the Dodgers attack long-term. Final prediction. Dodgers win 5-3. Glasnow navigates 6 innings, strikes out 8, and allows 2 runs. Machado strikes first with a solo shot for San Diego, but Ohtani answers with an extra base jab, and Freddie Freeman grounds in the go-ahead run. Dodgers bullpen holds serve. That cashes your ticket. Dodgers ML or RL under 8.5, Glasnow K over, with optional Machado pop. Tonight under the hotspot at Chase Field, the Arizona Diamondbacks host the Cincinnati Reds in Game 14, and this matchup serves as a microcosm of two teams yearning for traction as August heat intensifies. The D-backs step in at 62-66, still guarding a slim shot at contention, leaning heavily on a resurgent offense that's hitting .251 and tallying 178 home runs, the 5th most in baseball, even as their pitching lags behind with a 4.55 ERA, 25th overall, and a bullpen ERA near 4.83, one of the league's weakest groups. Across the diamond, the Reds sit at 67-61, propelled by Elly De La Cruz's power surge, .282 AVG, .485 SLG, 18 HR, 67 RBI, and a bullpen that permits a far more palatable 3.93 ERA, anchored by closer Emilio Pagan's sturdy 3.10 ERA over 25 saves. On the bump, Arizona entrusts Ryan Nelson, a righty sitting 6-3 with a solid 3.58 ERA and 99 strikeouts. His ability to rack frames and punch out hitters has lifted a rotation desperate for consistency. Facing him is Zach Little, a reliable Reds arm at 9-8 with a 3.52 ERA and 103 strikeouts, offering durability and control that has steadied Cincinnati's rotation when needed. It's a battle of power flash versus dependable steadiness standing 2 days into this set, and that contrast sets the betting table. Odds makers tag Cincinnati, with a slight advantage due to bullpen reliability and offensive ceiling, pricing them around -120 megaliters, while Arizona hovers +110 to +115 at home, fueled by their home run-happy lineup and ashes-to-life offense. The total hangs around 8 runs, balanced between Nelson's frame control and Little's ability to limit hard contact, but tempered by both offenses' knack for breaking hills when momentum sparks. Turning to props, De La Cruz anytime home run is a premier play. He's posted elite extra base metrics and flashes game-changing power at a moment's notice. Nelson's swing-miss profile opens opportunity for over 5.5 kiloseconds, a value angle against a middling Reds contact profile. Conversely, Arizona team total over 3.5 runs tempts if the lineup gets hot early against Little, especially with power hitters like Geraldo Perdomo, .275 AVG, .379 OBP, giving spark to rally chances. Constructing the same game parlay, the foundation is clear. Reds ML plus Nelson over 5.5 kiloseconds plus under 8 total runs. That leverages control, home road context, and the bullpen difference. If you're eyeing bigger upside, juice it with Reds -1.5 RL plus De La Cruz hour plus under, merging power upside with a margin squeeze. For contrarian thrill, Diamondbacks ML plus Nelson over plus RE team total over 3.5 stings strong. betting on explosive offense despite pitcher and bullpen concerns. Beyond the bets, the backdrop enriches the narrative. The Diamondbacks need to ride offense while their rotation holds serve, but their bullpen paint buckets late has cost them tough. The Reds, though not elite, lean on steadiness, timely power, and relief reliability. In a tight game, that difference carries weight. My final call. Reds win 4-2. Nelson pitches 6 tidy frames with 6 strikeouts and 2 earned runs. De La Cruz belts a 2-run homer early to swing momentum. Little provides 5 shutout before fading in the 6th, putting stress on the Reds' pen, but they survive. That nails your card. Reds ML or RL under 8, Nelson K's over, and the homer props payout for those who loaded in. Tonight at T-Mobile Park, the Seattle Mariners welcome the resurgent Oakland Athletics for Game 15 of the series, and the betting board is sizzling with tension between elite execution and scrappy grit. Seattle, riding the best and deepest lineup in baseball, consistently dishes out offense with power and depth. Powered by midseason additions Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor, lighting up the stat sheets and contributing to a MLB best buildup in run production, 110 WRC+, 101.7 batting runs above average. Their offense is a relentless machine with options up and down the order. Oakland, adjusting to life in Sacramento, brings a patchwork rotation that includes veterans like Luis Severino and Jeffrey Springs but lacks consistency and depth. Their season-era projections wobble around 4.27, and while the defense and elite relievers like Mason Miller hold promise, the margins are thin. On the mound, the Mariners roll with Bryan Woo, a rising right-hander who launched the season with historical dominance, posting a 1.07 ERA in his first 6 starts, setting a franchise record for innings worked, earning All-Star recognition, and even flirting with a no-hitter in one memorable outing. Despite a rough patch and injury earlier, Woo rebounded with reliable innings and elite command, finishing with a sharp 4.21 ERA and 92 strikeouts before this start. Oakland counters with Luis Severino, a veteran arm that brings pedigree but has struggled with durability and command. This season he sits at 4-11 with a near 5.00 ERA and continues to search for strikeout consistency in a lineup that depends more on contact and quirks than power. The betting markets are tight but tilt toward Seattle. With blue-clad firepower in the rotation edge, Mariners ML is likely priced around -135, while Athletics ML drifts near +120, tempting value but on shaky foundation. The run total lands around 8 runs, a classic spot for grit versus glove. Woo's command and deep frame suggest lean under, but Severino's struggles could make early Seattle scoring impactful. Here's where props ignite. Bryan Woo over 6.5 strikeouts is razor-sharp value. His recent averages speak for themselves, and Oakland's offense is raw against high-spin stuff. On Seattle's side, Eugenio Suarez anytime home run is a sneaky power anchor. His post-trade resurgence has been nothing short of electric. For Oakland, lean into Mason Miller holds under X runs allowed, or anytime WS hitter extra base hit, catching a glimpse of punch when opportunity arises, especially if Woo stumbles. Constructing the SGP, Mariners ML plus Woo over 6.5 kiloseconds plus under 8 total runs is the smart grounder. Power, command, control. Want more juice? Upsize to Mariners -1.5 RL plus Suarez hour plus under, anchoring control with slug. If you subscribe to the chaos theory, Athletics ML plus Severino over 4.5 strikeouts plus over offers contrarian flavor, betting on veteran bounce back and Detroit-style heat. When you zoom out, the story deepens. Seattle's depth, roster construction, recent trade additions, and health-positioned rotation all align for a methodical victory. Oakland, meanwhile, relies on flashes, standout arms like Miller, pieces of veteran polish, and hope for momentum that can't overcome structural mismatch unless everything breaks perfect. Here's my final play. Mariners win 4-1. Wu dominates 6 innings with 7 strikeouts and a single earned run allowed. Suarez broke deep in the 4th to ignite T-Mobile Park. Severino kept Seattle's offense muted early, but the pitching depth of Seattle eventually corrodes the defense late. That secures your ticket. Mariners ML or RL under 8, Wu K's over, with optional Suarez HR for power upside. If you're rocking with our deep dive betting breakdowns, make sure you smash that like button, drop your best bet in the comments, and subscribe so you never miss a pick. We're bringing you the sharpest props, the hottest parlays, and the full game scripts every single day. This is Beyond the Box Score, where numbers meet narratives, and the edge is always ours.